So in order to do what you have done, you've had to have built a great team of people, right? You did a great interview on the Building Digital Products podcast, which I listened to. You talked about the importance of defining the cultural values within the company, especially from like a very early stage as well. Tell me a little bit about why that's important to you, because I find that most founders, they don't do that early, and then it's often too late because everybody's kind of built their own cultures within the business, and it's like herding cats at that point. How do you do it from the get-go, and why is that of vital importance?
It's funny, I think there's been, even with Skimlinks, I used to talk a lot about culture, and it became a really big thing, and people thought that culture was, ping pong tables and nice benefits. And that's not culture. Culture are the set of values that you embed through your actions and what you're seen, how you're seen to behave, what you're seen to value, what you're seen to reward, etc. And that then becomes what the culture is. If you don't explicitly define those and explicitly do things to embed them, the culture becomes what you as the founder are seen to do and how you're seen to behave. So you can put like all the nice words you want framed on walls, but the culture is actually what you're seen to prioritize, how you're seen to behave. And the reason it's really important to be mindful of it is, especially as you get bigger, you cannot be involved in every single decision that happens. You just can't. And there comes a point, maybe after 8 people, that if you have to decentralize decision making in some way if you want to be able to achieve any form of scale. And so the way to decentralize decision making in a way that keeps everyone aligned is that you all have a shared set of values about what good looks like and how you should behave when no one's watching. And so that's why culture is important. And this time around, so I did it very explicitly with Skimlinks. We knew that we were going to, we would an unsexy company in an unsexy space. We were an affiliate marketing automation platform. You try hiring people for that, competing with people that are doing, companies that are doing much sexier businesses.
Sure.
So instead, we said our culture was going to be what made us an attractive place to work. So we really focused on camaraderie and how to build a place where people felt that they could develop friendships that mattered to them throughout their life. But they were as individuals taken care of, that their learning journeys were supported, that when shit got real, you were there for each other. And my co-founder and I really lived those values, and as a result, I didn't have to tell people what to do. When something really bad happened, they would act in a way that was consistent with our values and our culture. Skimlinks was a very in-office company. And I remember at the time, one of my head of HR wanted us to start hiring some people that were remote. And she's like, here's the reasons why we should do it, because it's going to be cheaper. It's going to give us access to talent that we don't already have. And I remember at the time I said, no, because our culture relies on in-office camaraderie, and we would weaken our culture if we started to diminish that. And I'm still really proud of that decision. With Flown, I knew this time around I wanted a very different culture. I'm older. It wasn't as much about partying. It was much more about health and family and balance. I knew I wanted a remote-first company, primarily because I wanted to live in Portugal, but also because our customers were going to be people that were working remotely, and it helped with empathy if we were living the experiences and challenges of our customers. So how do you then define, well, what are going to be the values? What are the important ways of behaving that are important to me, and thus I want people to perpetuate even if I'm not there to make the decision with them. And we see it in the way that we, I care more about, one of our values is that we appreciate effort, but we celebrate outcomes. So that is very clearly about the fact that we're not dicks. We really appreciate people when they try hard, but it's the outcome that we're after. And that implies with it a degree of flexibility about how you get it done, but we need to get it done. We have another one, which is invent the future, don't just rely on the past. So that again is saying, yes, use data and really analyze and understand the things that have worked in the past, but also build your gut by talking to customers so that we can make innovative leaps sometimes when we need to. So all these things, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, but they so they're defined. Then you have to embed them. And there's lots of different ways you can do that. But embedding basically means repetition, weaving it into your ways of working, into your communication channels, into how you hire, how you promote. All of that has to be aligned. But it makes an enormous difference because then you have a team that are making decisions without you being involved, which means you can move faster, which means that there's alignment, which means you're not wasting time, sorting out a lot of issues. Working out your cultural values, which are really about what parts of yourself do you want to lean into with this company, and how do you want people to behave when no one else is looking?
Yeah.
And that then becomes the things that you very consciously build into your ways of working.
Cool. I love that. What about hiring? You mentioned that a few times then. What do you look for apart from technical skills, and can they actually do the job, right? Let's say they can do the job. What else? You're aligning them to the values and the principles and the beliefs of the company, but what in particular are you looking for? What are the green flags that you're looking out for?
Passion and coachability. So, and actually those two things are more important than experience, because you can teach someone stuff, but what you want is someone that is coachable. So they're humble, they learn quickly, they are hungry for feedback, they take it on, they iterate themselves. Like that's a massive green light that we look for. How do they deal with feedback, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously, passion and excitement, because you want someone that can sort of power themselves and not always require external sources of power to be motivated.
Yeah, the best employees don't need to be managed, they manage themselves.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of create a space that lets them flourish. That's your job as a leader.